Welcome back to Spilling the Tech, episode 5. I want a Furby, and I'm Connor Robb.
I'm Jordan McCoy, and I also want a Furby.
Today we're going to be talking about children and technology and Furbies.
And just, how technology has been evolving with the younger generation. So, let's start off with our past childhood.
My childhood was Furbies.
Really? I don't know. For me, I wasn't really any like a stuffed animal kind of guy or like any kind of those animatronic kind of toys kind of guy. But obviously I played my games and stuff.
But like I remember Furbies, and I remember them being like the first like technology I had.
Really?
Yeah, like
it's actually pretty interesting.
Actually, like technology.
So like having
because they were pretty early on. I mean, they're pretty simple creatures, I guess. But
yeah.
I feel like they kind of foreshadow the future.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, technology and like children's toys like a big thing now.
Oh yeah.
Like all the animatronic stuff.
The thing that ticks me off now is kids with phones.
Oh,
how can you be in elementary and have a phone already?
Take your Furby. You can have a Furby. Take all the Furbies you want. That's for children. But like kids and their phones.
Eesh.
Like, don't hand a toddler your phone.
No, unless if you want random applications installed on your phone. I mean, like I was saying, with me, I really didn't grow up with a lot of, let's say, kind of those kind of toys. I kind of was a TV kind of guy and played my digital kind of games on the Wii. I still have the Wii. And I mean, it's a fun. Like, let's don't get it wrong here. The Wii's something else.
Yeah, dude.
It just sucks that no one's, into that kind of stuff anymore. But, technology has really changed. That's the whole point of this podcast, There's just so much you could talk about with tech. And I feel like the next generation's going to have a massive, tech is going to have a massive impact on them.
Yeah.
Considering that they're starting with tech practically when they're like 3, 4, 5 years old. Like that's to me is just baffling.
I feel like everyone thinks we were born with like the iPhone in our hand. That's not true.
No, I didn't get my first phone until what, 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, and the first iPhone didn't come out until I was starting school in kindergarten.
That's
and there was no notion of giving like children iPhones at that point. It took time.
It took time for parents to start having giving kids access to that kind of stuff.
We're the first generation of technology. The ones that we need to be scared of are the kids, the second generation of technology who never lived without it.
That's true. We are gonna bring that up.
YouTube, I feel like, is also YouTube is kind of like keys for children. You wave it in front of their face and they're entertained.
Okay.
And I feel like that's why children and technology are kind of like interwoven.
Yeah, that's really
children
true.
are entertained by anything.
I think the issue now too is like people on YouTube exploit that let's just say category. Kids content on YouTube makes a crap ton.
Well, not anymore.
Of views.
But
yeah, not anymore with the what is it called, the COPA law or whatever. But let's just say like that was a category that a lot of YouTubers exploited.
Like, do you know how many views Baby Shark has?
Oh, billions. I don't know how many billions, but I know it has billions.
Do you remember Baby Shark? Because it was a thing,
like in the day?
Like when we were kids, like in 5th grade, I remember like our bus sunk Baby Shark for 3 hours.
I have the issue with me is I don't keep those things in my.
Which is weird because like I remember that from that moment, and then like 5 years later, it was this thing on YouTube.
So you're saying like something that had a minimal impact in the past can just randomly come up again?
Well, I guess I don't know it had a minimal impact. I just had never heard of it before then, and then it comes back like 5 years later and is this big thing. I just found that weird.
It's crazy. It's sad because I mean, like the things that we saw, our parents growing up with, we saw were like, what the heck are you doing? Now these young generation kids are gonna be like, what were we doing? And then their generation that they're gonna bring to this planet are gonna be like, what the heck were you guys doing?
Technology is gonna be our biggest downfall in the future.
It's freaky. It really is. Because there's so many benefits to tech.
Yeah, but there's
it
also
makes the
so
classroom
many
more.
negatives.
Yeah, it makes the classroom more engaging. There's a lot more activities and things you can get into. You can connect with people practically anywhere, anytime. Communicate.
But I mean, the biggest problem with technology is also children and children growing up with it.
You need to find a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like kids these days cannot, sit around or have a normal kind of conversation with somebody without the use of their phones, and that's really problematic.
Okay, like I hate texting. I hate texting so much.
What's funny? I actually agree with you.
Like I'd rather call
talk,
someone
yep.
or have a
Mhm.
conversation with them in person than text them. It bothers me.
I am actually 100% with you on that. Texting, don't get me wrong, it's efficient, it's useful, it's practical in many situations, but I feel like I get a lot more said when I'm talking. But, some people say otherwise. Some people say they actually can say a lot more when they text because they can actually text, and I can't. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can text, but not supersonic speed, But it just shows that technology, originally was supposed to kind of connect us all together. But now it's separating us, and I feel like that's impacting children's education too. Because we gotta connect this with kids' education, and so I'm just trying to. But it is a good point that people should not overlook.
The strangest, I guess, part of kids having technology. These kids are super dumb.
Yes, because now there's been an increase of people relying on Google and stuff when they're looking up stuff. But then the issue with that is, how much are you really retaining at the end of the day? Are you just looking it up just because you have a test and it might pop up, and then once you're done with the test, you kind of throw it out? Or are you actually looking it up to retain it and keep it in your memory?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on the information.
Yeah, some information's kind of...
As kids are so reliant on their technology, it's like a second brain, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm going to be honest, I've got to the point where I've asked myself, what point does it make for me to memorize all this stuff when it's always a click away? What's the purpose of actually retaining that kind of information? I get it, I'm going to need it for that test, but after that, yeah, am I really going to keep that in my memory, or am I just going to throw it out because I could look it up anytime?
And that's why the future is Furbies.
And that's why society's going down. I'm just kidding. I'm not connecting Furbies with society. I'm just... Tech is good, but tech is bad.
Just like Furbies. Furbies are good, and Furbies are bad. Okay, do you remember in 6th grade, the Rubik's Cube thing that everyone was into?
Yes. Those kind of games are good.
Yeah, but how did you learn how to do that? You looked it up on the internet.
You know what's funny? I've actually tried to solve one, but I didn't look it up. But now I realize I could have done that. I don't know. I feel like...
I feel like the reason... okay, it's supposed to be a challenge, and you're just taking the challenge out of it.
That's true. I feel like it's also a stress reliever. Because I don't know if you remember the fidget spinners and stuff like that.
God, I hated that.
Dude, I actually got in trouble for one of them. There's been some phases in the past, with kids and toys and technological... I mean, the fidget spinner's not really... And the cubic... whatever it's called. It's not really technological, but it helps with, the mental brain and all that.
Does it, though? Does it actually?
I mean, it could stress you the heck out. So I guess it could be the opposite. It just depends on how you look at it and how you treat it, I guess.
But no, video games. Think about video games when we were kids.
Ooh, yes.
Versus them now.
Oof, I feel bad.
I also feel like the when we were kids example doesn't work really, because when we were kids in 2005.
Yeah.
But okay, the generation before us, let's take that for example.
Okay.
Think about the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, or the Super Nintendo.
The stuff that came out before the Wii and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about all that stuff, and think about where we are now.
Do kids these days even play a lot more, a lot of games compared to us?
Well,
I feel like it's kind of...
I guess I don't know the rate, but I think kids play a lot more video games than I do.
I feel like they're more focused on social media now.
Really?
Like TikToks and all that.
Well, like
Crap. Like, honestly, it's crap. Like, it's, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know, but like 9-year-old boys like in Minecraft and Fortnite and all that garbage.
I'm surprised Minecraft is still a running game to this day.
I don't
But
care.
it is a good game. I've played it, so I can actually vouch for it. But you know, the issue with me is like, I feel like people are treating technology as an avenue to not learn stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It's gonna have some massive drawbacks in the future. I don't know if it's gonna impact really hard with the next generation, but the next generation is gonna have to find a way to make money because
So it's our problem, basically.
it's
As
our problem that
parents.
we're giving to them, like how our past generation gave us all these climate problems that now we have to deal with.
I guess.
So it's so messed up. We just pass it along each generation. What the hell?
It just gets worse and worse, and we don't solve any
Oh
problems.
no, this is not good. Oh, like part of me wants to see the downfall of civilization, but at the same time, I don't want to see it because I really hope we can achieve a lot more than what we're achieving now. But I feel like in order to get to that point, we're gonna have to suffer a lot of drawbacks. We're gonna have to suffer a lot of just horrible times before we can actually get to that point.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what strives for innovation. I feel like a lot of things that are innovated today, a lot of things created, you know, technology has created, was caused by an issue that we've had in the past, and now we're just, you know, adapting and finding ways to make it more efficient, get it more, you know, done quickly and all that stuff.
How efficient can we like really become? That's kind of the scary thing,
I feel
especially
like-
with like kids because they're living with this, so they've never seen technology as not a thing. So it's a part of everything they've ever done. So when they grow up, they're gonna be like, this is a regular, so let's increase this. Let's make this more efficient because it wasn't efficient enough already.
It's crazy that we came from a generation where, you know, at one point we would use the laptop or a computer and actually had to wait for the page to load up.
Yeah, 2 hours.
And
2 hour
now,
load-ups.
what is it? What, 5G coming around? It'll be like fractions of a second.
Like in 20 years.
I feel like that's going to make kids impatient too. That's a good point, because now we're going to be expecting a lot more.
So I guess we're not really taking this from like our perspective, but like the generation before us, the millennials, like from them to like, let's say the kids who are like in elementary school, like just the difference between there, like that 20-year difference or whatever.
It makes a huge, like, you can see vast differences between those two groups of people. You know,
Like-
the interests are different.
Like the difference between dial-up internet and
Oh, God.
instant connection to any question you have.
America Online.
I feel
Rest
like
in peace.
I feel like it's made kids lazier, and well, I guess people in general lazier.
Yeah, but the issue I see fit with all of this is like, what's the next step? Like, it's going to get to the point like, what's, you know, what can we bring to the table that would change everything?
Yeah.
Because innovation is created by people actually having ideas and actually having the ability to actually carry out those ideas. And if we're just stripping that away with technology, what's left?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, kids of of this new generation. It's not our fault, but it is at the same time. But you just need to find that balance because it's getting out of hand. And
I think the best way to solve this problem is get your kid a Furby. This has been Spilling the Tech. I've been Connor Robb.
I'm Jonah Bakar, and thank you guys for watching this episode, or I should say listening.
Thank you.